This is the Peter Greenwood Show at the Edinburgh Fringe, and I have somebody who's doing a show up here at the Fringe. That's a shocker, isn't it? Unbelievable. Never would have expected this. Could you tell me your name and your show title, please?
My name is Owen, and the show is called Looking Fab at 50.
Now, I don't wish to be rude. You do not appear to be 50.
That's not rude. I think that was a compliment.
I intended it as a compliment, but these things never sound as good outside your head as they do inside your head, so you never know.
Yeah.
So what is looking fab at 50?
So it's a stand-up show. Obviously, I'm not 50 years old. I just think it feels like a kind of, that title, one of those magazine pulls, Davina McCall on Looking Fab at 50, that kind of thing. And I feel like that tone is kind of appropriate to my style in the show. And yeah, I thought it'd be a funny thing to call it. I did do one show where a lot of the audience were fairly older, and a couple of them had thought that I was going to be 50. So if you do want some amazing advice about living life in your middle ages, don't come to me.
I was going to say, I just turned 39 a couple of months ago. Okay. I will take everything that I can.
Sure. I feel like this show probably won't help you in that regard, but it might help you feel a bit free.
It might make me not want to cry before I go to sleep.
For sure, hopefully.
That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah.
So what kind of things do you talk about in the show?
In the show, I've got a story about when I called into BBC Radio 2.
Right.
And I requested a song. Have you ever done that?
I haven't done it in many years. I used to do a radio show.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
So you were on the other side of the table.
Yeah.
Right. The shoe's been on the other foot. Did you have people calling in to request songs?
You sometimes had people texting in, not so much calling in,
right.
but texting in. And it's like, hey, can you play this song that nobody's ever heard of apart from me and my two pals?
Sure.
Like,
no. Okay, well, that's kind of the issue I face. Well, to be fair, I asked for the Sugar Babes, which I think are quite well known.
Yeah, I'd say so.
But they'd already had them on another show.
Okay.
So they asked me to choose a Jessie J song. And, no offence to anyone.
But
I wouldn't personally choose a Jessie J song.
I can name like 2 Jessie J songs, and one of them isn't strictly her song.
What's the song?
Price Tag and Bang Bang Bang.
Bang Bang, yeah, that's one they asked me to choose.
Yeah.
So the show starts with a story about being asked to choose Bang Bang on Radio 2. And the humiliation that I felt as a result. And it kind of spirals out from there.
I'd have felt the exact same thing.
Yeah, thank you very much. It was tough.
Thoughts and prayers.
Thank you.
So, when you were putting the show together, what stories did you want to include, and how did you go about making them into a show?
Well, yeah, I suppose I kind of started with just having some stories that I thought were funny and compelling, and I would tell them on stage. So I tried the Radio 2 one. I've got a couple of stories about like dates, and a story about when I went to Ireland last year on a first date.
Before you go on, how did that? Is that a spoiler? Can you tell us?
I can't spoil. That is the finale of the show. So
I'll tell you what. If it went, because people can't see this, if it went well, give me a thumbs up. If it went down, if it went badly, I understand.
You can probably guess from the fact that it's included in a comedy show of how it went.
Yeah.
But
very rarely somebody makes comedy out of something that went very well. It's normally the other direction.
Yes, exactly. But anyway, no spoilers. Yeah. But yeah, I just tried out the stories, and then I did different work in progresses of it, and then it kind of, the themes that tie them all together began to reveal themselves. And I suppose I kind of strung it along a washing line from there, and then it's become a kind of coherent show. But it's not like one story; it's different themes and ideas that run together.
Yeah.
But I'd say it's quite a conversational, chatty show. Just feels like we're hanging out for.
Which is good. You don't want somebody kind of standing there just talking at you. Sometimes you want a bit of conversation.
Yeah, hopefully. I would say I'm definitely a conversational comic. If you come to my show, there is a chance that I will chat to you, but in a really kind way.
Yeah. You're not going to be one of those people on stage who's like, and you there, what have you got on?
Yes, yeah. I'm not going to not going to cut you down. Hopefully not, anyway.
Unless they start something first.
Yes, unless they start something like that. There was one really drunk guy who came in early one day because he heard us checking the sound levels before, and he thought the show had started. And I think because he'd already met me before the show started, he thought then we were kind of like on a level.
Right.
And so he did begin to kind of chat as the show started, and I went, "Hey,
not just you here.
it's not for you to do that." I know, but he was fun. And that was a really fun show. So.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Because
No, this is not me saying come to the please don't come to the show drunk and heckle me.
Okay.
But if you do, maybe I'll be able to deal with it.
Yeah.
But also maybe I won't. Maybe I'll cry.
Crying is a common theme today.
Yeah.
There's a show in that. So, what made you want to bring this show to the Fringe? Is this the first time you performed this show? Because you said it was a work in progress before.
Yeah. So this is just the show that I've been working on this year. I did the Fringe last year, and I just really enjoyed doing it. And I just think it's like, I just love coming here,
Yeah.
and I think I see the value in doing it, and I feel like it's helped me become a better comedian. I don't know, it just feels like it was like the appropriate thing to do as a working comedian who wants to perform hour-long shows.
Yeah.
It's kind of the right place to take it.
I feel that very much.
Yeah.
The Fringe is very good for comics and people who want to up their game, I guess.
100%. And I think because you also learn so much over doing the month, and your show changes and tweaks as you get bed into it, and so yeah.
Let me ask you this as a comedian,
Yeah.
because I've done I used to do a daily drive time show, and every day of a show had to change because the news changes. When you're doing a show, when you're touring, is that different as opposed to when you're just in one place? And do you update it based on what's happening in the news daily?
I'm not really a topical comedian, so I wouldn't sort of fold the news into my show. I think, if you go to different places, it's always nice for them to hear a bit of topical humour about where you are, maybe. But it's interesting. I feel like in Edinburgh, it feels like it's a different place every time because there's so many people come up to the Fringe. So, like, every show, the audience can feel quite different. I've had people of like all different ages come in, different genders from all across the globe. You know, I just feel like it doesn't feel like kind of one consistent audience here, necessarily. At least at my stage of my career, where I'm still kind of building an audience and stuff. So it doesn't. I don't know if it necessarily feels like you're in one specific place.
Yeah.
I suppose.
Do you ever feel, on the flip side of that, do you ever feel kind of bogged down? Like, oh, I've got, how many shows have you done so far? And are you like, oh, I've got X amount to go. This is going to kill me.
Yeah, so I've done 13 and I've got 12 left. So I'm over the halfway mark.
Li-
But I would I would say that the fact that there's about the same number of shows to go is slightly daunting.
Yeah. And that kind of thing terrifies me. Like,
Yeah.
I like to think I'm funny. I can tell a joke
Yeah,
or two,
yeah.
but I've never really done stand-up.
Yeah.
I've done some audience stuff, crowds
Sure,
and
yeah,
stuff,
yeah.
but not really stand-up. Is that daunting sometimes?
I think it can be daunting. I suppose the thing about stand-up is it feels like it's an energy exchange between you and the audience.
Yeah.
So the days where it's like the audience, if they have stopped clapping before you get to the mic, then I'm like, oh God, this is going to be a potentially...
Yeah.
That feels daunting to me because that feels like I've got to really sort of win them over.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think obviously you've got to kind of like keep an audience on side, but there are definitely times where it feels like it's an uphill battle from the start, and it feels like a bit of a Sisyphean task to try and like win over people that don't seem to want to have fun.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think also at Fringe you forget like obviously a stand-up show. The point of it is to have like a laugh for an
Yeah.
hour probably. I mean, some people are obviously doing really like beautiful stories, and it's such a broad genre, but overall it's just an hour of laughs.
Yeah.
And so when you go on stage and it feels like people don't want that, that's for sure going to be a challenge.
Which is kind of bizarre because they've come to you. You didn't go into their houses. They've
So
come
true.
to you. They
So
bought a ticket.
Can you come
This-
to the shows and say that at the start?
You know what? I will record it and you
Yeah.
play it.
Okay, thank you.
Tell you what, we'll do it now. You came here. You bought the ticket. Enjoy your fucking selves.
Or maybe I'm going to attach that to like a button, and then every time it feels like the laughter's not quite there, I'll press it.
I would be honoured.
Yeah,
It's just
great.
me floating around the country yelling at people and I'm not even there.
Yeah, I love it.
That's what I dream of. So, what's been the reaction to your show from audience members and family, friends? Have they seen it?
So audience members have seen it, which is lucky. they have, I think, felt positive about it. I guess. So I feel like it's one of those things was when you're when I'm like writing the show, I'm like, oh my god, I'm reinventing the wheel. I'm saying something absolutely profound.
Yeah.
And then I think the deeper that I go, the lighter it can stay for the audience because it stays engaging. I think it's like for me to engage in the depths of my psyche in order to create richer stand-up and jokes. Whereas for an audience, what they see is just hopefully like a fun show.
Yeah.
I feel like when you have a successfully structured show, I mean, like, who am I to know? But I feel like for me, people will leave it being like, that was so fun. Whereas if you don't have a structure, they're like, what was that about?
Yeah.
But they're never like, what a beautiful musing on life as a young gay man and the transactional nature of relationships and what it means to be perceived. Whereas for me, I'm like, these are all themes running through the show. But I'm always reluctant to kind of like top line it with that.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. I think I was saying this to somebody earlier this week, maybe last week, at time of recording anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And I described a show, and maybe it's the same with stand-up, as like a duck. Because when you see a duck, it's just floating gracefully. It's little
Like a
bit all
swan.
calm. It's all beautiful. But underneath, it's like... It has no idea what it's doing. It's fighting against the current. There are at least 14 fish trying to eat it. Does that ever happen to you? Do fish try to eat you?
Fish... I suppose fish sometimes do try to eat me, yeah. I think definitely that's a good analogy. It's the kind of tip of the iceberg thing of like, you should have a lot more going on than the audience are necessarily seeing. I guess it's a thing of being like, it's hard work, but you don't want to watch someone doing stand-up and feel like they're doing hard work because then that's probably more painful than enjoyable.
Yeah. Then there are some comedians, and I'm not slagging off anybody here. It's all personal opinion, what people find funny and whatnot. There are some comedians out there. There's one in particular who it feels very much just stand on stage and goes through a script.
Okay.
But yeah, there are some comedians out there who just feel like they're going from bit, like there's no spontaneity, and to me doesn't seem like a show.
Sure.
Does that make sense? How do you feel? Yeah,
definitely. I guess it's just different strokes for different folks, you know? I think it depends on the kind of show you're trying to do and the kind of atmosphere you're trying to create, and then maybe like the kind of story you're trying to tell. Also, I think, you know, when you see stuff, I don't know, if you've seen if you're talking about like a live show of his or
just on like the DVD. Which,
sure, okay.
Which of course is pre-recorded.
That's the thing. Is like, well, I mean, also often we watch so much like recorded stand up, like, you know, Netflix specials or live at the Apollo and stuff, and they've obviously been through heavy edits. Quite often they're like multiple recordings put into one. Yeah. So I think that I definitely had that when I was like growing up watching stand up on TV. You get a much slicker idea of what it is. Yeah. Then you go to like a comedy club, or because I always thought when someone does an hour, it's like, as you say, it's just like following a script. No, and there are comedians that, like, you know, follow the script and don't come out of it, which I think who are brilliant and really effective. Yeah. And then there's other people I watch where it's like, oh, you feel like you're in this live experience for one day only. I mean, I would say me especially, like, I am someone who will do, for want of a better word, crowd work, and that's kind of like part of my act, I suppose. I mean, if I was doing a shorter set, it would be more scripted, but the longer ones, I like the kind of loose style and creating the feeling of you're like having, this is what's happening tonight only, and it's going to be slightly different on another day. But yeah, I suppose the idea is you want to, like you say, you don't want to necessarily feel like you're hearing a script. You want to hear like you're hearing someone's thoughts for the first time. Yeah, it's like that classic thing of some people think when they go and see stand up that it's all just coming out of the person's head. You know, when someone says like, "Oh my god, I was on the bus on the way here," and then they tell a whole perfectly crafted story. Yeah. And you think that they've just thought of that because it happened on the bus. Obviously, that's not. Yeah, it's gone through several edits and whatnot. Yeah. Although I feel the exact opposite is maybe to be said for doing a play or a theatre show. Like when you're doing Hamilton, you're doing Hamilton. Yeah. But something changes every night. The way you say a line, the way you do this, that, or the other, that kind of changes. Yeah, definitely. And I also think for me that I feel like if I get too into the script, it kind of loses some of its vitality, maybe. Yeah. Yeah. We got completely off track there. I'm so sorry. That's okay. That feels relevant. So what is next for you and for the show after the Fringe? The show is going to come to other places. People can come and see it in other places. And yeah, hopefully just showcasing it to more people and keep building an audience for the kind of comedy that I do. It's so nice coming to Fringe because it's like there's days where you have a crowd of people who are picking up what you're putting down.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, guys, let's hang out again.
Yeah.
And there's been people this year who've come back from seeing it last year and stuff like that. So that's a really nice feeling to feel like I'm kind of building an oeuvre.
Yeah.
Um,
Like just settling into the groove. And
That's
it's
it.
your particular groove.
Exactly. So yeah, people can come and see the show elsewhere. And I'm not being vague. I can't tell you exactly
Yeah.
where. Yeah, it's all being figured out. But yeah, we'll perform this again, and then we'll keep performing. And I'm sure we'll come back to Edinburgh as well in some capacity.
Thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks so much for having me.
Talk to you.
Yeah, you too.
Will Owen, looking fab at 50, is performing at Roxy Boxy at Assembly Roxy at 8:30 in the evening every day until the 24th of August. For more tickets, go to edfringe.com and search for Looking Fab at 50. For the Peter Greenwood Show, I've been your host, Peter Greenwood. See you next time.